कॉम्प्रिहेंशन क्वेश्चंस आपका सिलेबस का पार्ट है। सीडीएस में नहीं आता? किस में आता है, किस में नहीं आता? एनडीए में आता है और सीडीएस में आता है। तो तुम लोग एनडीए की तैयारी कर रहे हो? आता है ना, काम की चीज है। चलिए कोई बात नहीं, अभी करना तो है ही, अगर सिलेबस में है तो कवर तो करना ही है, ठीक है। इससे देखो, यू आर न्यू टू द क्लास, है ना? आए हो कभी क्लास में? तो कितने इतने दिनों बाद, मतलब, हाँ, बस एक ही क्लास की है अभी तक। अब आखिरी एक दो क्लास बची है तब आ रहे हैं। अभी तो नहीं, पर आपका सिलेबस खत्म हो चुका है। अब ऐसा कर सकते हैं, मुझे जो कि लग रहा है कि आप लोग की ग्रामर तंग है ना? तो ग्रामर पे एक दो क्लास कर सकते हैं कि आप पढ़ के आओ और हम प्रैक्टिस करें यहाँ पे फटाफट वाला, है ना? हाँ, वही पढ़ के आओ टॉपिक और हम एक दो क्लासेस में उसको कवर करें। हाँ, मैं बताऊंगी अभी सिलेबस, ठीक है ना? अभी कुछ नहीं होगा तो मैं प्रज्ञा मैम से डिस्कस करके आपको मैसेज भिजवा दूंगी कौन सा सिलेबस आपको पढ़ना है, ठीक? चलिए पहले इससे शुरू करते हैं। इजी क्वेश्चंस है। सबसे पहला ये टेस्ट टीवी, टीवी वाला निकालो। है किस किस के पास नहीं है? आपके पास नहीं है? आपके पास फोन में है? चलो ठीक है, तो आपके पास भी फोन में है तो ये टीवी वाला निकालिए। आपका टाइम शुरू होता है, अब देखो क्या टाइम हो रहा है, मेरा फोन नहीं है मेरे पास। 1:09, 1:16 तक का टाइम है, फटाफट इसको करो। लो, 1:16 तक का टाइम है आपके पास, फिर हम डिस्कस करेंगे इसे। कॉम्प्रिहेंशन में पहले क्वेश्चंस पढ़ते हैं फिर पैसेज पढ़ते हैं। हो गया? डन? चलो 5 मिनट और लो, जल्दी, लेकिन जल्दी जल्दी लिखो। हाँ, नहीं लिख रहा हूँ, क्यों? तो क्वेश्चन नहीं आते तो क्या मतलब, कभी लिखने को आ जाएगा तो लिखोगे नहीं कि नहीं जी मैंने लिखा नहीं है, प्रैक्टिस तो करी नहीं। क्योंकि मेरे एग्जाम में नहीं आता था 5 सेंटेंस लिखने के लिए, इसलिए मैं 5 सेंटेंस नहीं लिख रहा हूं। चलो 5 मिनट और दे रही हूँ, लिखो। जल्दी जल्दी लिखिए। अभी मैं लिखने के लिए भी दूंगी। लिखने से कतराना नहीं चाहिए इसलिए। या कॉपी मत करो, अपने शीट में मार्क भी कर सकते हो आंसर। चलिए, हो गया। चलो फिर डिस्कस करें। लाओ, एक पेपर दो। है तुम लोग के पास एक्स्ट्रा? चलिए। Television show sounds and pictures. They get data from cables, discs, or over the air signals. They turn this data into sounds and images. People watch news and shows on them. You probably call them TVs. John Braid made the first TV in 1925. It had one color. It could only show 30 lines. This was just enough room for a face. It didn't work well, but it was a start. The first TV station was set up in 1928. It was in New York. Few people had TVs. The broadcasts were not meant to be watched. They showed a Felix, the cat doll, for 2 hours a day. The doll spun around on a record player. They were experimenting. It took many years to get it right. By the end of the 1930s, TVs were working well. America got its first taste at the 1939 World's Fair. This was one of the biggest events ever. There were 200 small black and white TVs set up around the fair. The US president gave a speech over the TVs. The TVs were only 5 inches big, but the people loved it. 5 inches big मतलब इतना बड़ा, ठीक है? They wanted TVs. But the World War II was going on during this time. Factories were busy making guns and bombs. When the war was over, TV spread across the country. By 1948, there were 4 big TV networks in America. They aired their shows from 8 to 11 each night. Local shows were aired at other times. Most of the time, nothing was shown at all. TV was not always on like it is now. Color TVs came out in 1953. They cost too much money for most. Also, shows were aired in black and white. By 1965, color TVs were cheaper. TV stations started airing shows in color. People had to switch if they wanted to see the shows. Now, most TVs are high definition. This means that they have many lines on them. This makes the image clear. TVs have come a long way since Braid's 30-line set. High-definition TVs have 1080 lines. They are a state-of-the-art sets called 4K TVs. These TVs have 3840 lines. Some people watch TV in 3D. I wonder what they will come up with next. Smell-o-vision, anyone? Okay? Now, let's come to the questions. The first question is, when did color TV come out? 1953. Which was not true about the first TV? Which is not true? Okay. Which is not true about the first TV? A, it could only show one color. B, it only had 30 lines. C, it did not have sound. Huh? It did not have sound. है ना? The first TVs, देखो यहाँ लिखा है ना बच्चे, सबका आंसर आपको इसी पैसेज में मिलेगा. नहीं, इसका the right answer is D. It did not work well. Last line, first second paragraph की last line है, देखिए. It didn't work well, but it was a start. है ना? Second paragraph की last line. When did networks start showing programs in color? Not true. अच्छा हाँ, so it did not have sound. है ना? C. 3. When did networks start showing programs in color? 19? बताइए. 1965. उस पैराग्राफ में देखो, color TVs आए and programs were being aired on color TVs invented in 53 and TV channels started airing programs, है ना, in 65. Why did the first TV station only show Felix Cat for 2 hours? Felix Cat, why did the first TV show a Felix Cat for 2 hours? Because they were running tests. Number 1, A, they were running tests. Which of these events slowed the spread of TVs? World War slowed, showed नहीं, slowed the spread of TVs. World War II. These are silly mistakes that you are doing because दिमाग कहीं और है. ये आप लोग silly mistakes कर रहे हैं. इन्होंने तो मार्क ही नहीं किया है. What is the author's main purpose? नहीं, नंबर 3 वाला गलत है. What is the author's main purpose in writing things? What is the author's main purpose? Yes, he is describing the history of TV. Why did many families switch to color TVs in 1965? Why did many families switch to color TV in 1965? Because many shows were only shown in color. Many shows were only shown in color. देखिए ये पैराग्राफ में देखिए. Color TVs came out in 1953. They cost too much money for most. Also, shows were aired in black and white. By 1965, color TVs were cheaper. TV stations started airing shows in color. People had to switch if they wanted to see the shows. ठीक है? चलिए. Why was 1939 an important year for TV? See, it is here. By the end of the 1930s, TVs were working well. America got its first taste at the 1935-39 World's Fair. This was one of the biggest events ever. There were 200 small black and white TVs. TV set up around the fair. The US president gave a speech. The TVs were only 5 inches big, but the people loved it. है ना? So इसका आंसर है that many Americans were introduced to TV. ठीक है? How many lines does a 4K TV have? बताइए. 10 3,840 lines. Yes. So they have 3,840 lines. Now, what happened first? 1939 World's Fair, the end of World War II, the release of high definition TV, the release of color TVs. World Fair, 1939 World Fair. Next. Why would TV watching have been boring in 1928? Why did the 5-inch black and white TVs at the World's Fair impress people? Why would it have been a bad idea to buy a color TV when they were first released? Okay, चलिए. अब आपको लिखना तो है नहीं क्योंकि आप लोग के एग्जाम में नहीं आता. लाओ नेक्स्ट. टाइम ले लिया तुम लोगों ने ज्यादा. चलिए अब क्या करेंगे? सबके सिर्फ मल्टीपल चॉइस पहले आंसर करेंगे. ठीक है? उसके बाद मैं आपसे पैराग्राफ लिखवाऊंगी. ठीक है? और नहीं तो क्या? हाँ हाँ, पहले देख लो. सबसे पहले विंटर टाइम. ठीक है? नेक्स्ट टेट्रीज. उसके बाद मेटल डिटेक्टर्स. ये वाला टेट्रीज. उसके बाद मेटल डिटेक्टर्स. ठीक है? मैं आपको दे रही हूं 15 मिनट्स तीनों के लिए. 20 मिनट्स चलो. ठीक है? 1:30 हो रहा है. ठीक? 1:50 पे हम डिस्कस करने लग जाएंगे. ठीक है? ये पहले 3 और ये लो बच्चे आप. 20 minutes you will get to answer 3 passages. हर पैसेज में 5 क्वेश्चंस हैं. और हर गलत क्वेश्चन पे माइनस वाली मार्किंग होगी. चलिए, और ऐसा नहीं करना है कि तुम एक सॉल्व करो, मैं दूसरा सॉल्व करूं और तीसरा तीसरा सॉल्व करे. चलिए, जहां पे जो सेंटेंस जो चीज ना समझ में आए वो पूछना। चार मिनट और है, हो गया। डन, 4 मिनट्स। हो गया? चलिए टाइम अप। लो, कौन सा था? विंटर था पहले। Burr. Winter is cold in some places. Many plants do not grow during winter. Some plants die. Snow and ice may cover the ground. It can be hard for animals to find food during winter. Animals get through this time in many ways. Birds and butterflies can fly. Many of them do not stick around for the winter. They leave. They go to a place with nice weather. When they come home in the spring, we call this migration. Migrating is a good way to avoid the cold. Another good way to avoid the cold is to sleep through it. Many animals hide during the winters. Their bodies slow down. They save their energy. They do not eat. They live off their fat. They do this until food returns. We call this hibernation. Snakes, frogs, and bears hibernate. Some animals store food in their homes. They do not sleep or winter, but they do much less. They live on what they saved in the summer and fall. This is what squirrels, beavers, and raccoons do. Skunks do this too. Other animals tough it out. They do not leave. They do not hide. They must survive. Sometimes nature helps them out. Some animals grow thicker coats in the winter. Other animals change color. The Arctic fox is brown in the summer. His coat turns white in the winter. Winter may be pretty. It is nice to see snow on the trees, but it is dangerous too. People are also at risk. You could get frostbitten or worse. How do you beat the winter? Do you wear a thick coat? Do you stay inside? Or do you live somewhere warm? Question. Which of these animals migrates during the winters? Butterflies. है ना? Next question. Which of these animals survives winter by storing food, by eating stored food? Bears, frogs, raccoons या birds? Raccoons. Birds migrate during winters. यहाँ देखो लिखा है. They live on what they have saved in the summer and the fall. This is what squirrels, beavers and raccoons do. Skunks do this too. ठीक है? Why does the Arctic fox's coat change during winters? White coat is prettier and attracts mates. White absorbs the sun and is warmer. White coat helps him blend in the snow. His body saves energy by reducing hair color. His white coat helps him blend in the snow. Why does it need to blend in the snow? कहाँ है? बट ये कहाँ लिखा है कि उसका स्नो, उसका जो वो है वो ब्लेंड करता है? अगर आपके पैसेज है, ये लिखा है सम एनिमल्स ग्रो थिकर coats in the winter. Other animals change color. The Arctic fox is brown in the summer. His coat turns white in the winter. फ्रैंकली मुझे भी लगता है कि डी होना चाहिए. थोड़ा टेक्निकल आंसर है. ठीक है? His body saves energy because उसे विंटर में रहना है, एक्सट्रीम विंटर में रहना है, तो उसका बॉडी एनर्जी सेव करता है. Which does not hibernate? Skunks. है ना? Why is winter a difficult season in some places? All of these. है ना? What does it mean to migrate? To move somewhere warmer for a season. What is the main idea of the text? Animals survive winter in many ways. Why does a hibernating animal, how does a hibernating animal survive? Live off body fat. How would a thicker coat help an animal survive winter? It helps them to stay warm. Which title would best describe this text? Survive how animals beat the winter. Fourth वाला नहीं होगा. Birds and butterflies, nature's movers and shakers. But this is only talking about a time to migrate. See, the question is, which title would best describe the passage? है ना? तो इन दोनों में they are only covering one aspect. हमने तो इस पैसेज में बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स कवर किए ना, है ना? So survive how animals beat the winter. Next क्या था? Tetris, है ना? इसके बाद है metal detectors. Do you like video games? Lots of people do. There are many types of video games. Some people like action games, other people like driving games, but the most popular game of all time is a puzzle game. Tetris is a game about making lines, blocks fall from the top of the screen. They fall one at a time. The player moves the blocks. Once the block hit the bottom, they are locked in the place. Players try to make lines go across the screen with no gaps. Complete lines disappear. This gives players more room. The blocks pile up during the game. The game ends when the blocks get to the top of the screen. A man named Alexei made Tetris in 1984. All the pieces in Tetris have 4 blocks. The word tetra means 4. Alexei named this game after tetra and tennis. He made Tetris while working at a science academy in Moscow. Moscow is in Russia. Alexei made his game on a screen that only showed letters. He could not use blocks. The blocks were made out of letters in the first game of Tetris. Still, all Alexei's friends loved this game. It was easy to learn and fun to play. Soon the game spread across the world. It was on every computer. It was in arcades. It came with every one of Nintendo's Game Boy. More than 100 million Game Boys were sold. The Tetris all over the place. Tetris was all over the place. Even today, Tetris comes with many phones. Dr. Richard Heyer has studied Tetris players. He ran many tests. He found that playing Tetris boosts mental activity. Dr. Heyer thinks Tetris is good for the brain. I agree with this finding. Now go and play some Tetris. It's just what the doctor ordered. Chaliye. Question number 1. What is this article about? Tetris. Video games कैसे है? Tetris is a kind of video game, है ना? But इस आर्टिकल में हमने बात क्या करी है? सिर्फ एक पर्टिकुलर गेम की बात करी है ना? What is the goal of Tetris? To make complete lines. After which is Tetris named? क्या? फिर सोचो. Tennis. Tetra and tennis. Where was Alexei when he created Tetris? Russia. What is the highest selling game of all times? Tetris. Which event first happened? Tetris was played with letters instead of blocks. Tetris was released on the phone. Tetris was released in the arcade. Tetris was brought to the Game Boy. ढूंढो इसका आंसर. ऑप्शन ए बोल रहे हो? Tetris was played with letters instead of blocks. Okay. ठीक है. What is the main idea of the second paragraph? क्या? Tetris was played with letters instead of blocks. थर्ड पैराग्राफ में है ये, ठीक है? लास्ट की 2-3 लाइन देखो, है ना? नेक्स्ट, व्हाट इज द मेन आइडिया ऑफ द सेकेंड पैराग्राफ? To compare Tetris to other puzzle games. ठीक है? According to Dr. Richard Heyer, which is true about Tetris? It boosts mental activity. What happens to a block that hits the bottom and does not form a complete line in Tetris? Huh? It disappears and reappears at the top. आपका क्या लगता है? A, D. Tetris has no positive side effects. 8th कर रहे हैं. अच्छा, हाँ, sorry. It gives the player more room. But this happens जब लाइन कंप्लीट हो जाती है. जब लाइन कंप्लीट नहीं होगी तो ब्लॉक नीचे गिर जाएगा, तो लाइन जब कंप्लीट नहीं होगी तो स्पेस कहां से मिलेगा? है ना? So it disappears and reappears on the top. मतलब क्या हुआ देखो, पेन दो, चलो रुको मैं बोर्ड पे समझाती हूँ. इनका मतलब ये है कि ये जो गेम है, इट इज समथिंग लाइक दिस. एक ब्लॉक आया, दूसरा ब्लॉक आया, तीसरा ब्लॉक, इसको ब्लॉक समझना भाई. हाँ, चौथा ब्लॉक आया, पांचवा ब्लॉक आया, ऐसे आया, है ना? पर मान लीजिए कि यहाँ पे कोई ब्लॉक नहीं है और ये वाला ब्लॉक यहाँ पर है ना? जब लाइन कंप्लीट हो जाएगी, अगर यहाँ पे एक इनविजिबल ब्लॉक आप बना दो और ये लाइन कंप्लीट हो जाए, तब तो ये लाइन गायब हो जाएगी, तो स्पेस देगी. जब ये ब्लॉक नहीं आएगा तो ये लाइन गायब कहां होगी? तो आपका ये ऑप्शन तो गलत हो जाता है ना? Why did the first game of Tetris use letters instead of blocks? बताइए. C, Alexei's screen could only show letters. ये लिखा हुआ है, पैराग्राफ की सेकंड लाइन है, नीचे नीचे थर्ड पैराग्राफ की सेकंड लाइन. ठीक है, लाओ, आपको आ रहे हैं आंसर्स? नेक्स्ट, मशीन वाला कौन सा था? मेटल डिटेक्टर्स. हैव यू एवर बीन टू द बीच? Did you see a man with a headset pointing a long pole? क्या? तुम्हारा तो दिमाग पढ़ाई में लगना ही बंद हो गया है. अच्छा खासा ये एकदम सही ट्रैक पे जा रहा था. पहली 4-5 क्लासेस में एकदम राइट ट्रैक पे लड़का चल रहा था. पिछले 3-4 क्लासेस से अलग ही दुनिया में रहता है. Have you ever been to the beach? Did you see a man with a headset pointing a long pole at the ground? If so, you might have seen a person using a metal detector. People use these devices to find metal. Metal detectors have magnetic waves. These waves go through the ground. The waves change when they hit metal. Then the device beeps. This lets the person with the device know that metal is close. The first metal detectors were meant to help miners. They were big. They cost a lot of money. They used a lot of power. And worst of all, they didn't work well. People kept trying to make them better. Metal detectors got smaller. Now they are light and cheap. They also work better. That is why people bring them to the beach. They can look for rings in the water. They can look for phones in the sand. Metal detectors help them find these things. They usually just find junk though. Metal detectors also protect people. They help to keep guns out of some places. They are in airports. They are in courthouses. Some schools use them. They help guards look for weapons. Guards use special wands to find metal on a person. मेट्रो में ट्रैवल किया है, देखा है, वो चेक करते हैं. That is a metal detector. These devices save lives in other ways too. During wars, people plant bombs in the ground. When the war ends, they don't clean up their mess. This is unsafe for the people who live in these places. Others use metal detectors to find bombs. They remove them and help the people. These devices also make clothes safer. It sounds funny, but it's true. Most clothes are made in big factories. There are lots of needles in these places. Needles break from time to time. They get stuck in the clothes. They would poke people trying them on. They don't though. That's because our clothes are scanned for metal. Isn't that nice? Let's hear it from metal detectors. They make the world a safer place. Questions. Which was not one of the problems with heavy metal detectors? They were too expensive, they were too big, they didn't work well, they were unsafe. They didn't work well. Second paragraph, third paragraph, the worst of all, they didn't work well. People kept trying to make them better. Acha, I'm so sorry. हाँ, ठीक है, they were unsafe. Which best describes the main idea of the second paragraph? How magnetic waves work. D. How do metal detectors make clothes safer? C. They make sure broken needles don't get into clothing. Why were metal detectors first used? To help miners. According to the text, metal detectors have been used in all of the following except churches. Churches. How do metal detectors help soldiers? B. They help soldiers find hidden bombs. बुलेट आ रही है, ये कैसे पता चलेगा? बुलेट गन से निकल के इंसान को लगने में फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड्स होते हैं. जितनी देर में मेटल बीप करेगा उतनी देर में
ये पता चल जाता है मेटल डिटेक्टर होता क्या है.
मेटल डिटेक्टर होता क्या है?
आपने बताया तो पता चला है, इससे पहले बता।
मेटल डिटेक्टर आपने देखा होगा रेलवे स्टेशन वगैरह पर भी होता है, ट्रेन वेन में देखो जाओ तो वो लेके चलते हैं, है ना? दोज आर मेटल डिटेक्टर्स.
क्या बोलते हैं उसको ये नहीं मालूम।
चलिए, why do people bring metal detectors to the beach? Metal detectors help people find valuable items. Which happens first? The metal detector beeps alarmingly. The magnetic waves hit metal and chains. The magnetic waves go through the ground. The metal detector creates magnetic waves. D. How did metal detectors get better over time? D. All of these. They became cheaper, they became lighter, they began working better. Which title would be best describe the purpose of this text? B. Metal detectors, a complete story of their invention. दीजिए. अब क्या करना है? कितने बच्चे बताओ? पैरास 10 दिए थे मैंने. तुम कौन सा पेपर दे रहे हो? एनडीए? हाँ, चलो तो अब क्या करते हैं, 6 बचे हैं, है ना? 4 बचे हैं, 4 लेके चलो, 2 आप घर पे प्रैक्टिस करना, ठीक है? सीट बेल्ट, कौन कौन से? सीट बेल्ट, ब्लैक फ्राइडे, द कोलोसियम एंड चेस, ठीक है? और हो रहे हैं 2:10. चलो ऐसा करते 3 करो, 5 मिनट हम डिस्कस भी तो करेंगे, है ना? तो 3 करिए, 3 आप प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, इसको हम नेक्स्ट क्लास में डिस्कस करेंगे. ये तीनों प्रैक्टिस करोगे घर पे, वो नहीं करना है, ये तीनों करना है. सीट बेल्ट, ब्लैक फ्राइडे एंड कोलोसियम, ठीक है? 2:10 हो रहा है, 2:25, 5 मिनट है आपके पास पर पैराग्राफ. जल्दी जल्दी करिए. और ये जो बाकी 3 है, अगली क्लास में तुम मुझे याद दिलाओगे कि मुझे डिस्कस करना है. अगर तुमने मुझे नहीं याद दिलाया, क्यों?
अगली क्लास में घर जा रहे हैं।
ये घर जा रही हैं, सबको मालूम है, सब जा रहे हैं छोड़ने. हाँ, अगर नहीं याद दिलाओगे तो फिर तुम देखना, ठीक है? तो फिर देखना. ऑनलाइन नहीं होगी बच्चे, होगी तो ऐसे, बट ठीक है, हम डिस्कस करेंगे इसको. चलिए 3 करिए फटाफट. 15 मिनट्स यू हैव. यू कैन ईदर टॉक एंड वेस्ट योर टाइम और कंप्लीट. First read the questions and then read the passage. आप कर पा रहे हो सारे क्वेश्चंस? गुड। हो गया? Done. Your time is up. लाइए, चलिए, quickly, let's discuss. The Colosseum. The Colosseum is an ancient stadium in the center of Rome. It is the largest of its kind. It is very old. They started building it in the year 70. It took 10 years to build. It is still around today. The Colosseum has been used in many ways. In ancient Rome, men fought each other in it. They fought against lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, it was dreadful, but most of the people loved it. As many as 80,000 Romans would pack inside to watch. These gruesome events went on until 523. The Colosseum has been damaged many times over the years. It was struck by lightning in the year 217. This started a fire. Much of the Colosseum is made of stone, but the fire damaged the upper levels that they were made of wood. This damage took many years to repair. It was not finished until the year 240. The worst damage happened in 1349. A mighty earthquake shook Rome and the Colosseum. The south side of the building collapsed. Pieces of the arena were all over the ground. Many people took the fallen stones. Others took stones from the seating areas. They used them to repair houses and churches. The Romans of those days were not connected to the Colosseum. It had last been used as a castle. Before it was a graveyard. Before that, it was a graveyard. It has been hundreds of years since the games. The damage to the Colosseum was never repaired. It is a good thing that the outer walls of it still stand strong. Today, the Colosseum is one of Rome's most popular attractions. People from all over the world come to Italy to see it. The Pope leads a big march around it every Good Friday. It is a symbol that many know. It has even appeared on the back of a coin. I guess that makes it a symbol that many people want too. Question. What happened first? The earthquake damaged the Colosseum. The Colosseum was struck by lightning. The Colosseum appeared on the back of a coin. The Colosseum was used as a castle. B. It was struck by lightning. When did the Romans finish building the Colosseum? 80. Yes. Option C. What caused the fire that damaged the upper levels of the Colosseum? A bolt of lightning. For which purpose was the Colosseum not used? People fought other people in it. It was a private castle. People fought animals. It was a meeting place for the government. D. It was a meeting place for the government. Which caused the most damage to the Colosseum? Fire, earthquake, war, and hurricane. Earthquake. What did the people do with the stones they took from the Colosseum? They repaired buildings. Which defines the word gruesome as it is used in the second paragraph? Horrifying. हमने synonyms and antonyms में किया था gruesome का synonym. Which best describes the main idea in the last paragraph? This is about all the things the Colosseum has been used for throughout history. This is about how the Colosseum is a popular place to visit even today. This is about how the Colosseum is a symbol that many people know. This is about how the Colosseum is used today. B. This is about how the Colosseum is a popular place to visit today. Which was not a way in which the Colosseum was damaged over the years? Tornado. B. Tornado. Which statement would the author most likely agree with? The Colosseum should be repaired with a building that is not damaged. The Colosseum has its place in history but is not useful today. The Colosseum should be used for fighting once again. The Colosseum is very old and has been used for many purposes. Many purposes. D. Most likely agree with. ठीक है, चलिए और बताइए, दूसरा वाला दीजिए. चेस. नहीं, चेस्ट नहीं था, कौन सा था? Seat belts. Okay. Click. That's the sound of safety. That's the sound of survival. That's the sound of a seat belt looking in place. Seat belts save lives, and that's a fact. That's why I don't drive anywhere until mine is on tight. Choosing to wear your seatbelt is as simple as choosing between life and death. Which one do you choose? Think about it. When you're driving in a car, you may be going at 60 miles per hour or faster. That car is zipping down the road. Then somebody ahead of you locks up his or her brakes. Your driver doesn't have time to stop. The car that you're in crashes. Your car is going 60 miles per hour. Now it has suddenly stopped. Your body, however, is still going 60 miles per hour. What's going to stop your body? Will it be the windshield or your seat belt? Every time that you get into a car, you make the choice. I choose the seat belt. Some people think that seat belts are uncool. They think that seat belts cram their style or that seat belts are uncomfortable. To them, I say, what's more uncomfortable? Wearing a seat belt or flying through a car windshield? What's more uncool? Being safely anchored to a car or skidding across the road in your jeans and shorts? Wearing a seatbelt is both cooler and more comfortable than the alternatives. Let's just take a closer look at your choices. If you're not wearing your seatbelt, you can hop around the car and slide in and out of your seat easily. That sounds like a lot of fun, but you are also more likely to die or suffer serious injuries. If you're wearing a seatbelt, you have to stay in your seat. That's no fun, but you are much more likely to walk away unharmed from a car accident. A small pleasure for serious pain. That's a tough choice, I think, that I'll avoid the serious pain. How about giving money away? Do you like to give your money away? Probably not. And when you don't wear your seatbelt, you are begging to give your money away. That's because kids are required to wear seatbelts in every state in America. If you're riding in a car and you don't have a seatbelt on, the police can give you or your driver a ticket. Then you will have to give money to the city. I'd rather keep my money, but you can spend yours how you want. Wearing a seatbelt does not make you invincible. You can still get hurt or killed while wearing your seatbelt, but wearing them has proven to be safer than driving without them. You are much less likely to be killed in a car wreck if you're wearing a seatbelt. You are much less likely to get seriously injured if you're wearing one. So why not take the safer way? Why not go the way that has been proven to result in fewer deaths? You want to live, don't you? Question number 1. मैं बोल के थक गई हूं, अब जरा क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 का आंसर बताओ. Which title best expresses the main idea of the text? C. Wear them to survive any wreck. Which best expresses the author's main purpose in writing this text? To persuade readers to wear seat belts. Option B. Which best describes the text structure in the 4th paragraph? Compare and contrast. Which best defines the word alternatives as it is used in the 3rd paragraph? Being safe. Which best expresses the main idea of the 5th paragraph? People don't like to give money away. Which best defines the word invincible as it is used in the last paragraph? Unable to be harmed. It makes you, बोल रहा है ना, it does not make you invincible. Which statement would the author most likely agree with? Being safe is more important than being cool. Moving freely around the car is worth the risk. Seat belts will keep you safe in any accident. You should be more concerned with your comfort. Being safe is more important than being cool. Which argument is not made by the author? Not wearing a seat belt can be expensive. Penalties for not wearing a seat belt should increase. Seat belts keep you from flying through the windshield. Wearing a seat belt is cooler than suffering an injury. B. Penalties for not wearing seat belt should increase. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं कहा है इस ऑथर ने. नहीं, स्टेटमेंट हैज नॉट बीन मेड बाय द ऑथर, ठीक है, इसीलिए ये सारे वर्ड्स को हाईलाइट कर दिया जाता है क्वेश्चन में, ठीक है। विच स्टेटमेंट वुड द ऑथर मोस्ट लाइकली डिसएग्री विद? सीट बेल्ट सेव लाइव्स, एवरी स्टेट इन अमेरिका हैज सीट बेल्ट लॉज, you shouldn't drive anywhere until you are wearing your seat belt, seat belt increase your chances of being injured in a car wreck. Option, seat belt increase your chances of being injured in a, हाँ, ठीक है, नहीं, हाँ, yes. Which best explains D. Which best explains why the author starts his essay with the word click? He is trying to scare readers. He is trying to get the readers' attention. He is trying to remind readers how seatbelts sound when clasped. He is trying to describe what it is like to ride in a car. Option C. He is trying to remind readers how seat belts sound when clasped. जब आप सीट बेल्ट लगाएं तो एक खट से आवाज आती है, ठीक है, सो ही इज ट्राइंग टू रिमाइंड पीपल कि वो आवाज ज्यादा अच्छी है, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट वन वी विल डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास, एवरीबडी हैज टू गो, आई थिंक, है ना। मैं आपको बताऊंगी आपको अगली क्लास में क्या पढ़ के आना है जिसको हम प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, ठीक है, चलिए।